Hello, architecture students. This video is about lighting, mainly about how to calculate your lighting needs and the different types of lighting that is available. And two things. One, if you would click on the like button down below this video, and so that make sure this video is shared out to more people looking for information on architectural lighting. And if you are my student, your assignment for this activity is to take notes. Okay, so take notes on this activity and submit those notes on Schoology. But if you're not my student, you don't have to do that. You can just watch. But anyway, let's go over some terms that we're going to need to know when it comes to lighting. The first term is green building, right up here. Green building is a term that refers to environmentally conscious building and design practices. In terms of lighting, it refers to power consumption. Okay. So power consumption is something that we really are concerned about when in our designs. Recessed lighting. What is recessed lighting? Well, it is lighting that is recessed primarily into the ceiling in the form of a can or troffer, and it provides down lighting. Now, that lighting can be put into walls also. I have seen it put into walls, typically with a light can that has like an eyeball type deal on it that allows you to point that downwards if it is pointed in or if it is applied into the wall. Surface mount lighting. Lighting that is mounted onto the surface of the ceiling, mounted onto the surface of the ceiling, and it provides a broader casting of light around a general area. Some of you may have these in your bedrooms if you just have a standard, average everyday house, kind of like I do. And you'll have just these really plain, boring light fixtures on the ceiling. A sconce, which is the next term, is lighting mounted to the wall that casts light up and down. An archaic use of this term would reference a bracket attached to the wall for holding candles or torches. And that is true. That is what a sconce was. That is how we got the name. But lighting, nowadays, we don't really want fire in our homes, so we just have an electrical light mounted in that into the wall. Pendant lighting. Lighting that hangs from the ceiling by a cord or chain, and so think about a chandelier in that respect. Track lighting. Lighting mounted to rails to allow horizontal adjustment. Oftentimes the lamp holder itself will swivel, allowing further adjustment. Outdoor lighting. Lighting that is designed to be weatherproof and mounted outdoors. Don't mount indoor fixtures or don't specify indoor fixtures for outdoor applications because they will not last very long. They may even start a fire. Pathway lighting. Low luminance lighting mounted near the floor level to illuminate a pathway, popular for use in stairwells and outdoor walking paths. Accent lighting. Lighting designed to focus on specific objects or areas for enhancement purposes. So if you have a house, especially if you have a house, it's a nice house, and you have a really nice painting on the wall, you might have an accent light mounted above that to shine light specifically on that painting. And that would be what we call accent lighting. Or it could just be also just a feature of the architecture itself. It could just be a corner, in other words. Lumen, measure of light output. A watt, which is the measure of electricity consumption. Watt is going to be very important here as we talk about green building. Okay, and a lamp is what they call light bulbs in the design industry. So the light bulb that you screw into your light fixture, that is called a lamp. Okay. Next slide, maybe. Here we go. Considerations for lighting. Health and safety and security is the primary reason we have lighting to begin with. That's right here in this square. And again, you can pause the video and write this stuff down if you want to, or you can just sort of do some shorthand and write it down. For my students, you don't have to write every word like you see here. But anyway, green building design, the design style to maximize health and welfare benefits to building occupants, minimizes impacts on the environment. There is a type of, I guess you would call it an organization called LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a rating system employed by the U.S. Green Building Council with lighting. It refers to cost and energy efficiency. So especially on a commercial building, you probably wouldn't do anything like this on a residential building, but on a commercial building, you could get this LEED rating depending on how well you conserve your energy when you're specifying these light fixtures. LED lighting, often the most cost-efficient, right here, in terms of low wattage consumption and lifespan, but can cost more upfront. High output luminance. Okay, so yes, LED can save a lot of money over the long run, but you will pay more money upfront for these light fixtures. Fluorescent lighting is also low energy, and I'm in this square right here. Consumption and high output luminance lasts longer than incandescent lighting, but not by a significant margin. Costs are higher than incandescent, but cheaper than LED, so it's kind of a middle-of-the-road technology. Has more of an environmental impact due to the small amounts of mercury used for luminance, but it is a debatable topic. You just have to do your research and do some reading on that, okay? Incandescent lighting has been in use since the early days of electrical lighting. Produces a desirable warm glow, but burns a lot of energy. Upfront costs are very low. You can get a light bulb nowadays, an incandescent light bulb, for less than $1. And the lifespan is comparatively short compared to other types of lighting. So even though it is very cheap, I honestly think, LED and fluorescent is going to be your most cost effective, and it's coming to the point where LED is really becoming the most cost effective as the technology gets better and better, and as there's more technology out there supporting these LED lights, more products for LED lighting, then you'll see the prices continue to go down. Style. Clients will have a style preference that may not be the most energy efficient. As an architect, you will need to educate them on the available options and long-term and short-term costs and benefits. So you have to educate your client, even though they may say, I really like the glow of an incandescent light. It's a warm glow. It's comfortable. And that's what I want. So I don't want any of these newfangled lights that are going to be putting out these really harsh, bright lights. Well, that's not always the case. LED has come a very long way and has really surpassed fluorescent technology when it comes to producing lights that have that warm glow that some people prefer. And as a matter of fact, I even think it looks better. And I'll show you some of those as we progress through the presentation. Placement. I'm in this last square, and placement is lighting should be placed in accordance with the 3 primary reasons we have lighting, and to where it will serve to benefit all other considerations. Think in terms of where light will be most effective. Okay, so that's when it comes to placement. All right, lighting calculation. There's ways that we calculate lighting. I'm going to show you that here. First, I'm going to show you some little abbreviations here and what they mean. But the RL means room length. RW means room width. 1.5, normal lighting multiplier. 2.5 is task lighting multiplier. 60W equals a 60 watt lamp. Now, you can change this can be variable, the 60 watt lamp in your formula if you wanted that to be, but that's typically the wattage that we use when we're calculating, and it just it's kind of like right there in the middle of the road type of wattage light output, and it's just worked for a long time. But the formula, this first formula right here, is the normal lighting formula. You would use this in bedrooms, maybe bathrooms, definitely in kitchens, sometimes in the living room. No, I take that back. Not necessarily in kitchens. I'll tell you more about kitchens when we get there. But mainly for bedrooms and possibly living room, hallway, things like that. You want to use the normal lighting formula. So it is RL, which is room length, times RW, which is room width, times 1.5, which is the normal lighting multiplier, and divided by 60 watts, okay, or divided by 60, the number of 60 watt lamps, okay. So typically a bedroom is going to come in at 1 or 2 60 watt lamps, which if it's 1 or 2 60 watt lamps, You typically need just one light fixture, one surface mount light fixture. Most surface mount light fixtures hold 2 light bulbs, and or of course you might even use a ceiling fan to light that room up with, and a ceiling fan can have anywhere from 2 to 4 light bulbs. Typically, if there are 4 light bulbs, it's going to be lower wattage per light bulb, say like 30 to 40 watts. The formula for task lighting, or for areas that need brighter lighting, is going to be this formula right down here. So it's room length times room width times 2.5 divided by 60 watts, and that would be the number of 60-watt lamps for task lighting. Okay, and the things that you would consider for task lighting would be preparing food, working at a desk, sewing, hobbies and crafts. And that doesn't just have to be the kitchen. It can be in the living room as well if you plan, or if your client plans on doing more of those types of things, the hobbies and crafts primarily, in the living room. So you have to know your client in order to really figure that part out. But just generally, you would just kind of use the lower light formula for most of your rooms, and then the higher, more intense light for the kitchen, maybe a garage or workshop. Remember that if you are using LED or fluorescent lighting, the lamps are rated with a wattage equivalency, and I'll show you more about that here in just a moment. Let's see if I have, no, I don't have that window still open. Okay, but you have to read your packages when you go to the store to get your light bulbs for your fixtures. You got to read the package. If it's an LED light bulb, it's probably going to burn about 5.5 watts. However, it will put out a light equivalency of a 60-watt incandescent light bulb. Okay, so about 60 watts worth of light. Okay, now types of light fixtures. Types of light fixtures. These are wall sconces. Okay. And these are all indoor wall sconces. You can actually, you'll see a lot of these used outdoors as well. Probably not this particular light fixture right here, but you'll find something that's more weatherproof that's being used outdoors. But they go from the very basic up to the very stylish, such as this one right here. And they're just mainly mounted to the walls. And typically, like in this fixture, they like to cast the light up and down the wall. You'll see sometimes louvers or something like that that would create some type of light casting, sort of an artistic light casting, as it does in this picture right here. Okay, types of lighting fixtures, ceiling, surface mount. Okay, so ceiling surface mount goes from the very boring over here to what most just common, what we call, some people call it track housing. And then others, just call it, average, everyday, speculative housing, whatever. But they're going to have, fixtures like this, or maybe even this. Of course, even in track housing, they're starting to get a little bit more upscale with track housing, and starting to use stuff closer to this right here for ceiling mounted lighting and surface mounted lighting. Okay. Types of lighting fixtures, ceiling recess mount. Okay, these are fixtures that mount up into the ceiling, basically into the drywall that creates your ceiling. This picture over here kind of shows you a little glimpse of what it looks like when it's mounted prior to the drywall being added. And this is what it looks like after the drywall is added and the holes for the light fixtures are cut into the drywall. And this is kind of what one of those fixtures looks like right here. This is probably an LED. I see there's not a whole lot of stuff behind it, such as in this fixture over here. There's a lot of electrical stuff behind that, not as much on this one. This one would more likely be for an incandescent. However, even if you have an incandescent type fixture, you can still put LEDs and fluorescent light bulbs in them. Let's see, types of lighting fixtures, ceiling tray lighting. Okay, you see in this picture right here, ceiling tray lighting, they typically will use something like this. This is an LED strip, and the ceiling would be constructed in such a way that this strip would actually hide behind some molding. Okay, so the tray itself of the ceiling is built kind of recessed into the ceiling, and then there's this trim that goes all the way around, and that is molding. Okay, that is like a very decorative type of molding, and then the strip would be placed somewhere in there to where you couldn't actually see the strip, but you could see the light that it projects. Really cool the way they do that. Types of lighting fixtures: fluorescent task lighting. In the kitchens, you'll see a lot of times they'll use fluorescent. Of course, they're actually going to more LED type stuff now. But fluorescent light would really illuminate the kitchen area. You may even have lights that are focused, like these in the distance here, and these would probably be LED lights that are really focused down onto a certain area. And as you see in this application, it's a combination. Okay, so they have the fluorescent, the overall light, and then they have the task focused lights over on the sides, and they're controllable with different switches. And that's one of the things I was going to get to with kitchens and living rooms is you're going to want to calculate both, in most cases, both the low wattage calculation and then the high wattage. That was the 1.5 and the 2.5 multiplier. And have each one of those calculations controlled by different switches. But this right here, this fluorescent fixture here is just one of your more basic surface mount fixtures. You'll see these in some houses, in the kitchens a lot of times. Track lighting. Okay, track lighting, these are really nice track lights. I like these. But these, as you can see, they have like really warm, glowing light bulbs. These are actually LEDs. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where they have been able to replicate the old-timey yellow warmth glow of some of the earlier incandescent type light bulbs. But these tracks can be mounted on the ceiling or on the wall in this case, and each individual fixture can be focused on a certain area. This can also go into the place of task lighting, or even accent lighting. So accent and or task lighting, you can actually use these track lighting fixtures. Outdoor lighting. Outdoor lighting is, of course, typically weatherproof type of lighting that can withstand the elements. And as you see in this photo, they're using it as pathway lighting, and then, of course, accent lighting around the house to kind of illuminate the building itself, and also to provide light, say, like in the front porch area, or maybe this is the backyard. I really don't know. A lot of times they'll use it to illuminate some of the plants, some of the landscaping as well, such as really in these applications here, it's both path lighting and landscape lighting. Down here in the bottom left, this is a path lighting application. Over here on the bottom right is more of an accent lighting, where they basically are shining the lights up on the house itself. Now that does provide some security lighting as well, but it's as you can see the way it's applied, it's really meant to focus on the aesthetic values of the home itself. Okay, but that is outdoor lighting. Now, don't overdo your outdoor lighting. It can really be overdone. I've seen it really overdone in many applications. You really want to be kind of conservative with that, but it just depends on your client. Okay, maybe they really stand out type of lighting in their yard. So who knows? Types of lighting, LED lighting, and well, light bulbs. Really, I should have named this slide light bulbs. But these are basically some of the bulbs you'll see inside of lighting fixtures. This is what would look like what we'd call an incandescent, but this is really an LED. Okay, these are LEDs that are inside of this light bulb, and these are the ones that can cast that really nice warm yellowish glow. This is just a plain everyday incandescent lighting, and you can really tell by the way the electrodes are on the inside of the bulb. Okay, this is a fluorescent type of light bulb. Okay, and these are more LEDs that are really kind of probably the application would be in a fluorescent type fixture for these right over here. These are strips, and I guess this is probably what they look like before you uncover the strips. They probably look like this. Okay, and this is what an LED actually is. This is a light emitting diode. This is probably one of its earliest forms. These light emitting diodes, or LEDs, can come in many different shape, forms, and fashions, such as you can see in these light strips and in these light bulbs. But this is probably one of the earliest forms of these, and they've often been used for many, many years, since the 1980s in automobiles and other types of equipment, just as indicator lights. Okay, and then someone thought one day, so wow, we can really probably use these to light a house or something, because they don't use very much energy at all. They're very energy conservative. Okay, and that is it. So make sure you turn in your notes, submit your notes, and it's a real easy grade. If you submit them on time, you get a 100. If you don't submit them on time, well, then you get charged for a late points. Okay. So any questions, just please ask me. From here, we're probably going to move into actually applying some of this lighting to our house. And that's it. Thank you much.